Imagine discovering your wife's been driving an extra 400 miles a week, and none of those miles are leading back to you. Imagine sitting at the family computer and finding her AOL password scribbled on a sticky note, like the universe itself is daring you to look. Well, I looked. And what I found didn't just end my marriage, it detonated another man's entire life. His marriage. His job. His home. Everything. And trust me, he deserved every last bit of it. If you've ever felt that gut twist of betrayal, or dreamed of serving justice cold, clean, and devastating, hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in. Because this revenge? Oh, it lands hard. Back in the early 2000s, before we all carried tiny surveillance machines in our pockets, you had to rely on your instincts. And mine? They were screaming. My wife and I had 2 little kids, 4 and 6. That adorable age where they'll tell you everything, what they had for lunch, who stole whose crayons, who pushed who off the swings. So when they started chirping about spending another fun day at Grandma and Grandpa's house, I paid attention. It wasn't weird for her to take them there once in a while. But 2 or 3 times a week? Her parents lived 90 minutes away. That's a 3-hour round trip, on her days off. Casual? Not even a little. And when I'd ask her about it, she'd blink at me with that too wide smile. Oh, you know. Mom just misses the kids. Yeah. And I miss my common sense, apparently, because I almost bought that. But she wasn't a good liar. She got fidgety. Her voice went up half a note. Like she was reading her own alibi off a teleprompter. So, I tested it. Every time she left, I jotted down her mileage. I'm not proud of it. Actually, who am I kidding, I'm very proud of it now. And after a couple weeks? She'd racked up over 400 unexplained miles. That's not visiting Grandma. That's a whole other life. The knot in my stomach was tight enough to snap my ribs from the inside. Then came the moment that changed everything. One afternoon, I sit down at the computer, that beige dinosaur every family had back then, and right there next to the keyboard is a neon sticky note. On it, her AOL password. Like fate wanted to hand me the truth on a fluorescent platter. My hands shook as I typed it in. I could feel my heartbeat in my teeth. And then I saw them. Emails between her and her college best friend. Laughing. Joking. Talking in vivid, disgusting detail about how she was sleeping with her high school ex-boyfriend. She even made fun of the guy's wife, mocking her for gaining weight after having kids. That one hit me like a slap. My wife wasn't just cheating, she was doing it with cruelty, with ridicule, with contempt. I printed the emails. All of them. My hands felt numb, my chest felt hollow, but something in me clicked into place. Not rage. Not yet. Resolve. I needed the rest of the truth. So I called up a buddy of mine, a cop, who immediately recommended a former detective turned private investigator. We'll call him Ron. Ron was the kind of guy who could find out what brand of gum your neighbor chewed in 1996 and what time they bought it. I handed him the emails, the mileage notes, the vague timeline, and he went to work. A week later, he came back with a folder that felt heavier than bricks. I opened it, and there it was. Photos. Dates. Times. Places. My wife, dropping the kids off at her parents'. Meeting Bob, the lover, for lunch. Laughing like she didn't have a husband or a life back home. Then the 2 of them slinking into a grimy motel like a couple of teenagers playing grown-up. Hours later, she'd pick up our kids and come home to me. Reading that report felt like swallowing broken glass. I thought of my own childhood, my parents tearing each other apart because of their own cheating. The screaming. The slammed doors. The way it twisted my siblings and me into emotional pretzels for years. I promised myself I would never let my kids grow up in that same war zone. So I made the call. I hired a divorce lawyer. But I wasn't done. I needed to know who this man was. And Ron delivered again. His real name, Bob. Married. 3 kids. A VP of sales at his father-in-law's company. Let that sink in. His career, his lifestyle, his entire standing in life, all came directly from the family he was betraying. My revenge practically began writing itself. I had my lawyer draw up the divorce papers. Then I called Ron one last time. I wanted 2 things. A couple more copies of the investigation report. And for him to make a very specific house call. The day my wife was served divorce papers right at her workplace, in front of everyone, Ron drove straight to Bob's house. Inside was Bob's wife. A woman who had no idea she was about to watch her life change in slow motion. Ron laid out everything. The emails. The photos. The timestamps. The motel visits. The lies. All of it. And you know what? She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She didn't fall apart. She absorbed it. Like she'd been hit by a wave and chose to stand her ground anyway. Whatever she felt inside, she channeled it into action. See, while my divorce wasn't affected much by the cheating, hers? Oh, hers was a full-on nuclear event. Court filings later showed exactly what happened next. She emptied their joint accounts. Took the kids. Left the house, a house owned by her parents. When her father found out that Bob was cheating on his daughter, he fired him. On the spot. Then he evicted him. Bob went from VP with a cushy salary, to jobless, homeless, and alone in a matter of days. And that was just the beginning. Their divorce turned into a battlefield. Violence. Police reports. Restraining orders. A broken nose courtesy of her brother. Court-mandated counseling. Criminal charges. Jail time. His entire world imploded like a dying star. And me? I didn't have to lift a finger beyond revealing the truth. Sometimes justice just needs a spark, and people will burn themselves down. As for my ex-wife and me, our divorce went smoothly enough. We kept it civil for the kids. But once they grew up, I cut off all contact. Not out of hate, just disinterest. She's simply their mother. Nothing more. And Bob? He vanished. Moved states. Probably changed his name. Maybe he's flipping burgers somewhere, telling strangers how everything just fell apart at once. His ex-wife, on the other hand? She thrived. Ended up taking over her dad's company when he retired. I guess some people rebuild. And some people crumble under the weight of their own choices. The phone call where my lawyer told me everything had gone down, the firing, the eviction, the financial gut punch, felt like exhaling for the first time in months. It wasn't joy. It wasn't gloating. It was relief. A pressure valve releasing. Bob had taken something from me that I could never fully get back. But in the end, his own actions torched everything he valued. Cheat on your wife with mine? I won't raise my voice. I won't throw punches. I won't scream. I'll simply turn on the lights. And let your world fall apart the way you built it. Some people think karma's slow. But sometimes, it doesn't need years, it needs opportunity. And when betrayal is the match, truth is the gasoline. If this story made you clench your jaw even once, smash that like button. And drop a comment. What's the coldest revenge you've ever seen? Make sure to subscribe for more stories like this, because justice, well, it makes one hell of a good story.